personality. That sounds like a big word, but it's like, we know what colors go well for us. We know what foods go well for us. So it's the same way with herbs and flowers, whether you use them internally or externally. That was a long answer. I'm going to stop.
No, please. I mean, you're here because I want to learn from you, and I know other people do too. I'm just really mesmerized by, you can ask anybody who is on this show or in my chat rooms. It's very rare that I'm quiet for that long. It's just, but, to consider that this is just an individual thing and that you can do that by voices. I know that our energy carries in our communication, but it just is very, I think it's very neat.
Or emotional things. Do you see what I mean? It's like, let's say you were a real happy person, but underneath you had some depression going on. I'm going to pick up on that. Mm-hmm. And I may or may not say anything to you. I don't really have to, because I can make you a blend that will put that in, but that's not all of you. It may be a situation in your past or a trauma in your past. I mean, who's gotten through life without them? And so you can feel that, you can hear it, and sometimes I just see the plant or the name of the plant just types out in front of my eyes, and I just read it like if it were on a chalkboard, but it's really not. And it's not often, people are complicated by the time they have issues, and it's not often just one plant, one flower, one herb. It's usually a combination of several. And then you're really in the creative process yourself, because you're making something from all these things. And just like when you make a casserole, cheese is not just cheese, it's part of the eggs and the noodles and the whatever else you put in there. And so the plants, the flowers or the properties of the plants, whether they're herbal to be ingested or essences to be worn, they take on a whole new level that the plant is not exactly aware of itself. In other words, we put our own creativity in there. Yes, I know you need these 5 different flowers for a blend, and it'll give you a lot of emotional and physical support. And when I put those together, the flowers are going, oh, cool. They get to meet each other. They may or may not have grown together in the gardens, usually not, but they have a whole new way. It's like when we learn a new talent that we didn't know we had, and we get to utilize it. But somebody like me comes along to be the catalyst for that.
Well, I just find that fascinating. But it stands to reason. They're coming together. They're coming together for a purpose. And I'm sure that they don't do it without you making them aware of that too, right? Do you communicate back with them?
Yes, definitely.
So you're letting them know that this is the goal.
Yeah. And I didn't know it before I talked to so-and-so, and they gave me some things they want to work on. And as it so often happens, they may not have a diagnosis, or, they'll say, nobody's been able to help me with this, or this is very complicated. And it's like, good, because we've got a lot of plants we can work with. And sometimes it's a little bit of a step-by-step approach, but it's different for everybody. some people, just blow wide open when they first start taking it. And within a month, I mean, they're done. They're doing great. And someone else, like me, might take a long time.
Well, everybody heals differently from everything that happens to them, though. And different physical or emotional traumas heal at their own pace, even for the same person.
If you've ever, I used to work with psychiatrists in Houston when I lived there a long time ago, and you didn't want to have a doctor that hadn't experienced some of that. Do you understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I've had a lot of things health-wise and emotionally. I mean, I'm a very emotional creature that have come up for healing. And if I hadn't had those experiences, the negative and hopefully the positive also, it wouldn't have been as easy for me to help people. I think that's one reason I zone in on people so well, I think. And
I would say that was definitely a truth.
Yeah. And I know in psychological work, it's just the trade, the people themselves will say, oh, you don't want to be one of those people that is a grief counselor and you've never been through grief, for example.
Well, yes, because theory sounds really terrific, but application is quite different.
Yeah, and that person, you're not going to say what they need to hear or just be there for them. Sometimes just by giving people hope and direction, I think, what I tell people is, we're working on this together. We're a team now. So we're actually joining energy, and it doesn't stop when they walk out the door or hang up the phone or Skype or whatever. It keeps going, and I'll actually pick up on people right before they call back. I might not have heard from them for a long time, and that's fine, but I'll start thinking of them, and sure enough, they'll call back. So we're still connected, and it's that connection that helps the body heal itself. I like the whole concept of plants and herbs being medicinal, but none of this would work if the body wasn't a self-healing unit, right?
Well, and people forget that, or they've never known it.
Yeah.
Because in our particular culture, we're taught that doesn't happen, that you have to go and get synthetic medications and get all these terribly strong antibiotics, or which suppress your own immune system and prevent you from being able to cure yourself. My daughter is pregnant and just had an issue that she had to get addressed, and they prescribed something for her that should not be given to pregnant women.
Oh no.
And it was in an OB/ER that they did that.
Wow.
And thank goodness she is very cognitive of what is good for her and what's not. And her pharmacist caught this one and said, oh, I don't think so. We're not going to do that. So sometimes you just have to know what is right for you and trust what is going on with you. Because everybody makes mistakes. That happened to be a big one.
Yes.
But everything happens, and we have to have enough knowledge to be doing self-care as well as accepting help from others. And
right.
I think,
and not judging things as they go along. When am I going to get well? It's been 5 minutes, that
right.
kind of thing. I try to tell people, just let your body's going to do what's most important first. And it may not be your weight. It might be some other endocrine imbalance that has to be addressed, so the weight will naturally come off.
Yes.
For example, yeah, I've been the victim of the medical community before. I mean, as a youngster, I mean, it's like, oh, this is not going to work. This is just not going to work.
Right.
And fortunately, my parents weren't. It's not that they were against doctors, but they never had them. So, it's like, oh, we don't need that.
Well, I don't think that every culture is quite the, give me the green pill so this will happen, and then I'll take the red one in 2 days so this will happen. And, the American society seems, to me, to be geared that way. And it's very disheartening when it's like, well, if you would just do this daily or do that, do a little research, do a little reading. I'm fortunate that in my work, I get exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And very different thought patterns.
What I find that sometimes, our concept of healing means it goes away and never comes back.
That's rare.
I don't, thank you. I had a cancer patient one time, and, for 17 years, she stayed on the program. It wasn't very difficult or expensive for her, but she stayed on it every month. She'd contact me, and we'd do whatever she was low on. She got off of that program after 17 years because she was just too busy. She had cancer back within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And
was what you were doing suppressing, or
she never. The thing of it is once the immune system or the nervous system has learned something, it can be always there.
Yes.
And it's like a virus, once it comes out of remission when there's certain stressors.
Mm-hmm.
And, but in our mind, we think, oh, we've killed it. Well, you don't kill viruses. They stay in your body forever. They may never bother you again, but they could.
Yes.
And I think, I'm not saying cancer is a virus, but that and many other things very often require that we do some ongoing self-care.
Yes. And believe it or not, we're up to our second break now.
Okay.
This is flying by, but we will be back. This is going to be a 2-minute break, and we will catch y'all on the flip side.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. Welcome back. You are listening to Fate Radio. I am so happy that you're here. We are